12:33, we are back. Well, a team over at Dalhousie University with their Transportation Collaboratory, better known as DalTRAC, launching what is really the first Nova Scotia Travel Activity Survey. This is actually in partnership, too, with HRM in the province, and it's the first of its kind in Nova Scotia. To tell us more about this, Dr. Ahsan Habib joins us on the line with DalTRAC to give us an idea of what they're looking for from you. Hello, Doctor. Good to have you on. Thanks for this.
Oh, thank you very much.
Let's start with what DalTRAC does. Give us an idea.
DalTRAC is a research facility where both transportation engineering and planning students work and try to understand what are transportation problems, the data issue, how to model, visualize the issues. Say, for example, our bridge delayed opening. That was one of the work we did. So they really try to understand the local transportation issues, the planning issues, and try to address how we can overcome those issues by offering solutions, recommendations.
Yeah, last month you mentioned the bridge, but you decided to take a look at that, probably even before it started experiencing the opening delays when they were doing the big lift construction. And we know they had their issues with that, and a lot of that, they had to make sure because of safety. But, tell that to a day-to-day commuter.
Right. So we try to be always on the cutting edge to try to see how research can help in our day-to-day transportation problem, or trying to understand those kind of pieces.
And in my time in this city, and I've learned really fast that there are probably, and I've talked to people in-house here, and they say this too. It's so true. There are probably 5 or 6 spots that if you have a couple of them go down for whatever reason, construction, an accident, otherwise, maybe weather-related somehow, then you've got some serious problems. If, 2 or 3 junction points have issues at any point of the day together, it gets tough to get out of the city.
Yes, you are exactly right. We have 5 choke points, and we are stuck with that just due to our geography and the way the road system is. So that's why we need to learn a little bit more about the system, how people are traveling, so that we know a little bit more about how we should be responding on those kind of challenges.
Yeah, and I wonder, was this something that DalTRAC thought right away, okay, let's do this, and then go to the city and let's go to the province and tell them, or did they sort of come to you looking for maybe this information? More importantly, where does it start?
We actually are doing partnership for a long time, so we have some sort of a mutual understanding, and we try to help them, and they also partners with us. The thing that we are now putting forward, this first ever Nova Scotia Travel Activity Survey, is actually in partnership with the province of Nova Scotia as well as Halifax Regional Municipality. So we are more kind of a research wing, trying to get more data to understand a little bit more about the system and the decision makers at those agencies, but we offer our services as much as we can in partnership with them.
But to offer them that data, though, you need some serious participation, and I guess that's where we come in. But as far as getting people to participate in this survey, what are you asking them to submit here or commit to?
So what we are asking, it's not uncommon in other cities, but it's the first time in Nova Scotia, but we are asking them to let us know where they go, how they get there, and when they are going. So that's it. But mainly recording their travel activities for 24-hour period starting from 3 a.m. to the next day, so that we know in the entire day what they're doing and which mode, say transit or walking or a vehicle they're taking, what time they're leaving from one activity to another. So we want to understand the whole randomly selected households, of course, the whole 24-hour travel diary. So that's the main piece that we are asking from the people who we have invited so far, 5,000 randomly selected households.
And if I'm invited to participate in this somehow, and I see this, then I've got to, and I'm guessing you're picking a work day because that would make the most sense. But
right.
Let's say if it's a Monday, for example, or today, like a Thursday, I know that I got up and I got in the car and I drove here, and I could tell you exactly how I got to this building and what time I showed up. Now, I'm filling in for someone today. It's not a typical day, but for a lot of people, day in and day out, that pattern never changes for them. So even just something like that you're saying tells you enough if you're able to get everybody that you've reached out to submit that kind of information.
Right. You are exactly right. So we are trying to also facilitate people, like we sent in the invitation letter is sort of the paper copy of travel log so that they can take a note as they go, and they can then come back. They have an access code to enter into a website. We develop a tool, very nice, neat tool, so you can go and select where you went. If you have the address, that's great. If you know you are nearby from the Google map, you can point your location. So it's quite easy to use the tool. But what is important here, though, I should mention, it's not just the one person from your households. We are asking if everybody from your households can actually offer your entire travel pattern. That will be great. And then we will combine those information with all the people in that area to have an aggregate total of like how people are actually traveling. This will give an enormous type of information to really think about what kind of transportation service they need, what they are doing, what might evolve in the future. We will use this data for various purposes, including modeling to predict the demand in the future. That's one of them. But we can also track people, like how we are actually shifting from auto-driven trips to more active transportation-driven trips. So we have a multiple purpose from the research point of view, and also the Nova Scotia province as well as the HRM has their stake to really learn a little bit more about like what kind of services they should be offering.
And I guess you want to track this over a 24-hour period, so it can include more than my commute to and from work. Let's say I bike to work, and it's a 25-minute bike ride, and I bike to work. I work all day. I go out for lunch on foot, 15 minutes down around the block and another block over, have a great lunch, walk back to work. After work, I bike home. Then suddenly there's a car available to me. Let's say the spouse gets home, and then our son or daughter has a hockey practice in Cole Harbour, so we've got to go over there and we take the car. You want to know all of that or just my commute?
Exactly. We want all of that because so far from Census Canada, we know your work pattern, but we need to know all the places that you visit in the 24 hours and by what kind of mode and how, who was with you, those kind of piece. It will give us a more better understanding of not only commute trip we should be facilitating, but also what else we can do when you are at work, when you have issues like, for example, you have to drop your kids to the daycare. So we need to understand this the whole places, like all the places you visit on the 24 hours. And it's very important, and I should also note that these information will be very confidentially kept, and we will just, whenever we receive it, it automatically give a kind of access code, unique code, so we cannot actually track. So it's a confidential and approved by the Ethics Board of Dalhousie University.
And there might be different things that come out of this. Let's say for the city's sake, they could say, oh, maybe there's a heavy reliance on transit going this direction at this time, so maybe we need to improve, XYZ route. Or maybe a car share program, maybe we should look at something, having another business come in and do that, or a shared bicycle thing like they have in Montreal or Toronto. Things like that can really help out, looking at it different ways. I'm sure would start from something just like this, a simple survey.
You are exactly right. That's the reason why we are trying to understand that. Say, for example, off-peak hour, we have a less frequency of transit. So if we know from this survey, like what is the demand during the off-peak hour, maybe we should increase the headways of transit lines. Or if we see that a lot of people want to bike or walk during the non-work trips, so we can offer those kind of ideas like the car share, bike share program. So that the idea of, like, since we don't don't have in this city a scientific travel survey, which Toronto started in 1986, by the way. So I sometimes calls we are 30 years behind from Toronto, particularly on this regard. So this is a first step, I would say, to really seriously collecting data and then taking decisions, more informed decisions based on what we see, how people are moving around in the city as well as in Nova Scotia. We are inviting all Nova Scotia population.
You want 5,000 households. What happens if you only hear back from 1 in 5 and you get 1,000? Is that still good enough to get some quality data?
The more we can get, the better. But of course, like if we don't get that, that's fine. We have some statistical measures to do that, but I will encourage everyone to participate. So in the first round, we sent 5,000. We are actually sending another 5,000 in the second stage. So we might go and continue this to get a representative sample so that we can be confident on the data that we collect. This is the right kind of origin destination flow for the city and the province.
And then you're directed, I think you said with a code, you go back to DalTRAC's website and you're asked to put in something that identifies that you've gotten this, and then you fill it out. And you kind of mentioned what you're looking for, but as far as actually submitting the survey, how easy is that online?
It's very easy. If you type in, you have all the information, whoever has been invited so far, but I will quickly give that. So www.daltraclab.com. If you go there, you will be asked for one access code, which we already sent to you. You put in there and you will see everything, like what kind of things we are asking for. So you can go, you can withdraw anytime if you don't feel comfortable with the survey. But this is a very easy way to go there. You can also Google DalTRAC, DalTRAC itself. We are maintaining a website to keep inform everybody. All the invitation and the forms and the informations are available on the website, so you can browse, you can understand. If you are not invited, if you know someone is invited, please encourage them to participate. It's an important study. It's an important piece of research work. We are funded by federal agency, NSERC, and the province of Nova Scotia, and potentially HRM. So we would like everybody's participation as much as we can.
Dr. Ahsan Habib, thanks so much for this. It's interesting. I hope you get back as many responses as you've sent out.
Sure. Thank you very much.
And that's the Dalhousie Transportation Collaboratory. And again, their Nova Scotia Travel Activity Survey, they say it can really have some big gains for the municipality and maybe even wider the province if they get as much compliance to this, what they've sent out 5,000 households. If they get all of that back, they could really represent a really good picture of where we move, how we move, and at, I guess, what time of the day we move. Some people say, well, that's too much. I don't want to say all of that. But for data's sake, he says Toronto's been doing it since '86. And I guess in another way, too, I know a lot of friends there. They probably complain more about the commute there now than they ever have. But it would probably give us some better options going forward, certainly in this city, because it does have its issues. We'll take a break. More on the way. Stay with us.
You're listening to The Rick Howe Show on News 9.